Boy, oh boy, does the media turn oh so rapidly on what should have been a Cinderella story with Bungie finally breaking free from their corporate overlords for the 14th time, partnering with Sony in a $3.1 billion acquisition, not even being forced to do everything Sony wants, still retaining some of their independence. They're finally free of all past obligations. We have a blank slate to do whatever we want. Does this sound familiar? It probably does, because this is what Destiny ultimately evolved into. It was a lot of passionate developers who decided to go off and do something else. And Bungie was one of the most successful games of all time. It cemented Sony as the premier home gaming console. And it was a game that all of us loved, even though there wasn't a ton there. We believed so much in the Bungie of yesterday that we were willing to compromise on the game we had today for the promise of tomorrow, right? That was the Bungie vision. That's what we all believed in. That's why Sid and I played over 800 hours in this game, rated everything, got all the weapons, did all the quests, had an absolute blast with this masterpiece of a game, right? That was that moment. And I think we all wanted that moment again when Marathon was announced. We knew that Bungie was free and clear. We knew they were working on the next big thing. They were going to take all the lessons they had learned from their maybe not so great experience with Microsoft and their maybe not so great experience with Activision. And they were going to go off and they were going to be free at last and go off and live their own world and create the game we all wanted. And it was going to be Marathon. And it was this crazy, fun, new art style with that Bungie first-person shooter pedigree, a game that we could all get excited about. And we waited patiently for it to be announced. And it finally is announced. And what is it? Well, it's a betrayal of everything that we believed Bungie was going to provide to us. Gone was that rich single-player experience where you teamed up with your friends, that PvE element, and instead they were chasing the live service model that died after it, like the day after it started, like literally after The Division came out. The live service model was basically revolted and like just despised universally by gamers. But they decided to chase that. They decided to betray the PvE experience with a PvP experience. They didn't even include a complete package of PvP with proximity chat. They made an extraction shooter that nobody wanted. They stole art for the 5th time that I've counted, maybe more. It was just a series of flub after flub after flub. And at what point do we all as gamers look at this and go, you know what? I don't think I'm on board with this. What is that tipping point? Well, I'm pretty sure the tipping point was probably the alpha that came out. I would say when the reveal came out, there was probably a shred of optimism by like 3% left of the fans. And you got to keep in mind one thing here, people. You got to keep in mind when you turn your back on people who put you where you are substituting a known quantity for an unknown quantity. You're substituting the die-hard, I'm going to buy the collector edition the day it's announced because I believe in what Bungie can provide me, with an unknown quantity. Now, the unknown quantity could be a whale. It could be a whale. It could be somebody who's like, yeah, I'm buying 10 collector editions. Screw that guy. I'm going to buy them all. But most likely, it's going to be somebody who kind of trickles in, who's kind of like, I'll check this out. But they're not going to stay. They're not the people who are getting the Bungie tattoos. They're not the people who have walls dedicated to this. They're not people who have Love Me, the Love Me wall, the collection wall. They're not the people who rant and rave about the times that they had. They're not looking at the Cade 6 poster on their wall. No, these are people who are just like stumbling into this. I've heard about them. I'll play it, but I'm not a fair weather fan. I stumbled into this hot mess. And then once the get is not good anymore, I'm going to stumble right out. Okay? That's what you trade. That is so insane that Bungie could build up such a dedicated, diehard audience and just straight up shit on them. That blows my mind. And I am not a diehard Bungie fan, by the way. I really didn't play a lot of Destiny 2. I dabbled a little bit in Gambit towards the end because it was fun, but it really wasn't for me. I kind of had my kicks on Destiny 1 with Sid. I logged, 800,000 hours in that game. I loved it. We had a blast, but we kind of retired from that. Okay, we've all moved on to other things. But yeah, a competitive, a fun first-person shooter that's got Bungie's controls with some crazy fancy art style that's not stolen, that requires cooperation to take down legions of enemies, I'm in, right? I'm in. That's all the games I play now. But that's not what Marathon is. So Bungie has the audacity to betray all their fans, to steal artwork, and then to go on live stream a couple nights later and be like, we took your feedback to heart. There's a lot of things that you guys want. We'll look into it for you. You'll look into it for me? How nice of you. I don't know who's going to care because this game's dead on arrival, but here we are. And honestly, this game makes Concord's launch look better. At least Concord believed in their vision and stuck with it to the end. And even though the writing was on the wall, but nobody wanted it, I got to admit, they rah-rahed all the way to the end. Marathon has basically pulled their entire marketing campaign, the pre-order campaign, the big full court press, they've backed away. The best thing that can happen to this game right now is another scandal. The second best thing that could happen to this game is it's delayed indefinitely and gutted in a way that Overwatch was, where they rip out everything. Maybe they keep some of the art models, the ones they made. Maybe they keep some of the gameplay mechanics, but they basically rip the game out and start over, and we'll see again in a few years. It's a massive loss, no doubt about it. Sony's probably pissed. Although, is Sony to blame in some of this? Did Sony let them work in a vacuum? I don't know. I don't know how that structure works. I got to believe if I'm paying somebody $3.1 billion, I'm going to have one of my dudes sitting in that seat in every goddamn meeting listening to what's going on and reporting back to me. So I got to believe Sony was involved in this somehow. So I'm not like, oh, boo-hoo, poor Sony. Poor gamer, poor fan. That's who gets hurt in this, right? But I got to believe the best thing they can do is they've already lost so much. Don't throw good money over bad. It's over. It's over. Marathon is over. It's dead. You killed it. You killed it before you unkilled it. You killed it before you designed it. The core idea was bad. You backed the wrong horse. You went down the wrong path. You're not stuck with this. Don't release this game to mediocrity. Don't release this game to the haters, which I am now one of them. Don't do that. Do yourself a favor. Crawl in a corner. Die. Regrow. Respawn. And I'll see you again in 5 years. That's really the best thing you could do. Now, I know how business works. That's not going to fly. Investors and shareholders and customers and all these people are going to be involved. And there are going to be massive layoffs. Let me tell you, this is going to be a bloodbath in terms of who gets let go. I'm sure the managers, the Pete Parsons, the Golden Parachuters, they're going to be just fine. They're going to walk away. I mean, some asshole even gave Don Matrick a job. Zynga gave Don Matrick a job after he shit on the Xbox brand publicly. So that just goes to show you that unfortunately, the people who really should get it aren't going to get it. That's just the way it is, and we just have to accept that. But what we don't have to accept is a subpar game. And we don't have to accept a game that doesn't align with the visions of the fans and the will of the fans and the fans that put you on the map. And like I said, I'm all for trying new things, but not at the sake of the old things that put you where you are. And I got to believe that if anybody in any of those Bungie meetings was sitting there like, maybe this isn't for me, I'd like to believe they left before this turd hit the market. I'd like to believe they found another job and they're doing something else. They went where their opinions are appreciated, because anybody would tell you this is a horrendous idea, what Bungie is doing. But they're doing it anyway. They don't care. Here's what I think. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think that this game is probably going to be shoehorned through. It might get delayed a little bit because they're going to do an art review. And they're going to realize, they're going to pull some assets. They're going to pay off some people under the table. Hey, it's fine. We're good. We're good to go. It's going to come out. There are going to be probably 20, 15% of the people who buy it. And it's going to just basically whittle itself into mediocrity. And it's going to get unceremoniously canceled in the next year. And if Bungie can recoup from that, if they can, I don't know. I don't know the terms of the deal, how much they spent, whatever. But if Bungie can recoup from that, you won't hear from them for a very long time. That's what I think is going to happen. What should happen? What should happen is they should kill this game instantly and go die in a corner. And we'll see you again in 5 years. Let GTA come out. Let other games that people are actually excited about come out. Let them learn from their mistake. This will be a massive black eye to the company. This will be a massive black eye to Sony. But that's how you learn. And maybe next time when you're sitting in the boardroom trying to make a game, you'll think, what got us here in the first place? And it's not this. It's not this. I will say as I close out this video, I know I have a lot of spite for Bungie. I did apply to work for them. Their interview process was embarrassingly bad. I've talked a lot about that. I've talked a lot about the fact that as a gamer and as somebody who cares and spends money on this, and this is my life and my hobby and my passion, I'm only reading gaming news, I genuinely hurt for people who feel betrayed by this. And it is very easy for us as fans to put developers and to put studios on a pedestal. I've done it before. I've been guilty of it before. And I always say, hey, you know what? Sight unseen, I will buy any game Arcane makes day one. I'm going to get an Arcane tat on my shoulder. Dishonored is the greatest game I've ever played. I loved Prey. I love everything they do. And then they come out with that really bad zombie game, Nightfall. What is it even called? Never even played it. And it's like, I was just kidding. I felt betrayed by them. I personally felt betrayed. They don't even know who I am. They don't care about me. They don't know that I have a signed poster in my office that I love and I look at and think about. And I have my little flask over there that says Arcane Leon that Phil bought me. Nobody knows that. Nobody cares. I care, but they don't care. So I genuinely hurt for the people who have been hurt by this. It makes me feel sad. It makes me feel bad that people have invested in the money and the DLC and they're on the forums and they're active members of the community and they cosplay and they believe in a product and a vision. They play with their friends. It unites them. It's like the whole Blizzard experience with World of Warcraft. Like it's like a cult, but it's not a cult, but it's like a way that you can go and unwind after you just had a bad day at work. And it's just a safe place where you go with your buddies and you go have fun and forget everything. And I think a lot of people wanted that and they didn't get it. And I feel bad for them. And I feel bad for people like me who are basically going to lose out on an opportunity for a potentially cool game studio who has made other good stuff in the past, who has some of the best, if not the best, first-person shooter mechanics on a console ever. And this is their legacy. And it's sad. I don't like doing these videos. I don't like sitting here and shitting on a studio. And I wish I could sit here and tell you, hey, it's going to be okay, guys, and it's going to work out. It's not going to work out. And it's not going to be okay. And I feel bad for you guys. I really do. So, Bungie, you're probably not watching this. I don't know how many people made it to the end of this video. It's almost 14 minutes long. Get your heads out of your asses. Go back to the drawing board. Think of that moment in The Taken King when we all bought into that exclusive PlayStation 4 console and it was hype and it was fun. And we all went to GameStop and we pre-ordered and we got the little Cade 6-figure and we all had a good time and we loved it. And think of what you did then and think of how you were back then and how you were received by the audience back then. And then think about how you are now. Think about how you are treated now. Think about how people shit on your live stream. Think about how bad your reputation is. And ask yourselves, what happened? And I think you guys can figure it out. Because everybody, including me, has been telling you for the last year.